Hi everybody, it's been a little while since we saw each other last. It's been a good 2015, when I look back on it, mostly for the lessons. But now that we're in 2016, I had a great epiphany when I woke up on January 1st, and I grabbed a pen immediately and started writing down a bunch of notes. A lot of us try to do these New Year's resolutions every year, and really New Year's resolutions should be happening every day of the week. Every time you think of something you need to change or you think of a way to live better, there's really no reason to wait until tomorrow. A great example is a friend of mine up in Ottawa. For the last 20 years, every week I talk to him, he says, "Hey, great, you know what, I'm gonna quit smoking. Starting in 2 weeks, I'm gonna quit smoking." And every time I talk to him, it's always 3 weeks later he's gonna quit. Next month he's gonna quit. And yeah, that's been going on for 20 years. And what I always tell him is, why don't you just start, why don't you set right now, right this second for change? Stop smoking now. I won't get into why that's an addiction or what have you, but my point is every day is a day for reflection and change and daily resolution. So without further ado, I want to talk to you about the resolutions I came up for 2016 when I woke up on January 1st, and I implement them every day and I try to adapt them every day. And so I'm going to start with my first resolution, and I hope some of you can gain some insight from them. I know a lot of you are probably like me. You're always trying to help people, and sometimes you don't look out for yourself first. So first resolution to live a better 2016 and a better life in general is start to minimize your use of technology. It's always interesting when I look around me in elevators, public places. It seems like everybody's staring at their cell phone. Everybody's doing this. Even at stoplights, which is my personal favorite, because then the light changes to yellow and then red again, and the car in front hasn't moved because they're too busy texting somebody. And this is how so many accidents happen. But I've noticed technology has given a lot of stress to me over time, especially running a law firm. And you have people always texting you, always calling you, and right now my phone is not working properly and I'm not receiving texts, and I love it. So minimize your use of technology. You'll realize how much it consumes you after a while, and you become a slave to your phone, and how many times you have to repeat things. Trying to close a program, it won't close. Trying to send an email, it won't send. And things were simpler when we didn't have so much technology around us. Now we have almost too much. And the problem with technology is, I'd say 90% of it doesn't work. We're beta testers. We're paying companies to be beta testers because most of the stuff doesn't work properly anymore. So, number one, minimize your use of technology. It will really decrease your stress levels, whether you realize it now or not. Give it a shot for a couple of weeks and see what I mean. Number two, if something isn't working, walk away from it. Don't fight to make it work, and that applies to people as well, and technology, and a lot of things in life. It's good to be persistent in life and to keep, hitting that rock until it breaks when you're trying to achieve a goal. But little things in life, a door won't close properly, or you just can't get this software to open, back to technology, or whatever it is. If something isn't working, you don't have to keep hitting your head against a wall. The good thing about life is there are many options to achieve the same goal. There are many different streams or paths you can take that will get you to your next destination or the goal you want to achieve. So when something's not working and you've tried a few times, you don't have to keep trying all the time. And it's kind of like Homer Simpson said once, I think he said, "Son, if at first you don't succeed, quit." I won't go to that extent because you don't want to be a quitter either, but do realize there are other ways to achieve the same goal. And if you've been trying something for this, if you've been trying something over and it's not working, it's okay to change course and try something else to, get to your goals, because at some point you're just spinning your wheels and wasting your time and stressing yourself. And this is another way you can de-stress yourself and decrease your stress levels. Number three, every day we deal with people, and when I look at what causes stress for me and most people, is it's usually other people cause that stress. I'm not going to really get into the fact that really we control our stress and it's us that let other people affect us. So look, it does start with us. I'll never deny that. I'm the first to always take responsibility for others. But I will say this, when you are confronted with a situation in which, you know, your workmate or your coworker isn't doing what they're supposed to do, and you're feeling the stress of it, or you're getting frustrated because somebody else isn't understanding what you're saying, who knows what's pissing you off about people these days, or an individual, whether it's a relationship or a friendship, or even a parent. Focus on your strengths instead of other people's weaknesses, which means focus on the things that you're good at doing. Because it's very easy to go home and sit down and be like, oh, why doesn't that guy do what I ask him to do? How come he's so incompetent? Why can't he even type a simple date properly on a simple letter? Forget it. It's not your job to do their job. It's not your job to be smart for other people. So don't focus on trying to fix other people's shortcomings all the time. It's not really going to go anywhere, I've noticed. Because if people are a certain way, they're generally going to be that way. And all you do is you stress yourself out and you divert your precious resources trying to change somebody who's not going to change, when you should just be fixing yourself and focusing on bolstering your strengths and what you're good at. So that would be my third point. Focus on your strengths and not other people's shortcomings or weaknesses. Number 4 for living a better 2016. This one's going to be tougher for some, but go on a minimum of 3 vacations this year. And actually, when I say 3 vacations, I'm really referring to 3 months worth of vacations. So this year, my goal is to go on 100 days of trips, whether that's, you know, somewhere else in the US or traveling internationally. I've kind of come to realize I don't really feel like a week is enough. Usually going away for a month is fantastic because time goes pretty fast. I kind of say that with an asterisk or a caveat, because I realize for those of you that have the old 9-to-5 job, you know, that's really tough because, you know, you get a whopping 2 weeks off a year. So if you don't, do what you can to get away on the weekend, even if it's a weekend or a Friday off, and take more time off for yourself. Go to nature, absorb the energy from the plants and the trees, and you'll feel different. And I promise you, you know, a lot of the European countries, they do have it right with having much more vacation time. So try to take as much time off for yourself as you can, because, you know, our lives become work, and, you know, nobody's thinking of the office when they're on their deathbed. Number 5, guard your peace of mind. It's never for sale. Understand that it's never for sale at any cost, and don't let people sell you their stress. As a business owner, as an attorney, people try to sell me their stress all the time, in the sense that I'm not paying for that. They're paying me to take on their stress, and it's a killer. There's a reason most attorneys, not most, but a lot of attorneys have drinking problems. I believe the statistic is attorneys are 6 times more likely to commit suicide. But whatever your job is, you know, you're going to have your own workplace issues, whether it's with customers or clients or other workers or your boss. You know, people are going to try to shovel their issues on you. Let's say they have a bad day at home with their kid and their wife or their husband, and they go to work, and next thing you know, they're on your ass for everything. And, you know, you haven't done anything wrong. It's because they're trying to vent. So always put your guard up about that. Don't let other people unload their stress on you. You have to learn how to say no. There's a great video by Ralph Smart. Great, he's got a lot of great lectures on YouTube. But essentially, he talks about the emotional drive-by. So people are trying to give you their negative energy, and when they do that, they walk off feeling great, and you feel drained and you feel tired. So before you even get to that stage, start learning to say no. You know, just the other day, a good friend of mine was about to go off about one of his relationships and how he was really pissed off with his girlfriend, and I could see the energy, negative energy building up in him. And me, as a very sensitive person, I actually absorb that, whether I like it or not. So I very quickly said to him, I said, stop. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to acknowledge absorb any of that energy. When you're calmed down about it, I'll talk to you about it, but right now I can't. And I felt great, because I've been through this situation before, and what ends up happening is that person will talk, and at the end of their conversation, I'll feel drained and tired, and they'll feel great, and they're like, well, I feel good now, and I won't. So never sell your stress, never give your peace of mind away. If you're in a good place mentally and you're feeling good, run away from people that you think might bring you down. Nobody can force you to be with them. So that is my 5th point. Number 6, And very similar to number 5, never be controlled by other people's emotions. Always do what's in your best interest first. And I know that sounds very selfish, especially if you have children and a family, but this goes back to the fact that you can't help other people unless you help yourself first. And so what we'll often do is we won't ask somebody for something, or we won't say no to somebody because we're worried about how they might feel. And the funny thing is, usually those people couldn't care less how you feel. They'll usually unload on you or ask you for things that you're not in a position to give, and you give it. But you're never gonna ask them for something like that. And all you end up doing is getting stressed because now you have some pressure on you to do something that you may not be able to do. But you kind of let what somebody else might think about you or how they might feel dictate your decisions. And you let that override and supersede what's actually better for you. Instead of thinking, well, is this in my best interest to do? Do I have the time to do this? Will this cause problems for me? Your first instinct can tend to be, well, will they get mad at me? Will I ruin my relationship with them if I don't do it? Things like that. And so I want you to start prioritizing or reprioritizing yourself. So always ask yourself first, is me doing this good for me first? Can I do this? Is this in my best interest? If it is, then you can move on to their emotions, but take care of your emotions first. Number 7, follow your logic, analysis, and intuition. You got to stop ignoring it to make other people happy. Because what ends up happening is we have this gut feeling, and I think as children we're much better at using it, but as we get older, we tend to use societal norms and things like that and how other people might think, going back to point 6, in terms of dictating our decisions. But our gut might say, hey, don't do this, I'm not getting a good feeling from this person, I don't think this is a good idea. But we'll tend to use other metrics to go ahead with doing something which our gut told us not to go forward with in the first place. So try to follow your instinct more and see what happens. Go through the next few months just going off of your gut more than necessarily the obvious extrinsic values, and you may find that your decisions are better even though they're not necessarily based on things you can explain vocally. Okay, a few more points and we'll wrap up. Number 8, very similar. You can kind of see the theme today. It seems to revolve around other people's energies and how they affect you. My 8th point is walk away from people that are projecting any sort of undesired negative energy. If those are people you meet and they're doing that, then you'll feel it. You'll feel it from them when you're near them. I can feel it. People can probably feel it from me when I'm in a bad mood. You just have to walk away from them. Let them cool down. It's not your job just to sit by them and be a sponge absorbing their negative energy. Number 9, let go of anything and everything. Stop getting stuck on things. As a great example, there's a cat next to me that is scratching my cupboard. And the cat always scratches my cupboard as a sign to tell me he wants to eat. Even though I put the food out, the cat will keep scratching. And it used to really annoy me at first because I didn't want him to damage the house and what have you. And even standing here talking to you, you may have felt a little energy shift because I'm diverted from doing this little talk with you guys to watching this cat. There he is. Scratch up the old cupboard. So nonetheless, just let go of things. Let them do it. Let people do their thing. Just let things happen, because we can feel like we want to control things all of the time. And the problem is we really don't have control of anything people do. We really don't. I mean, you can try your hardest, but that's generally what stresses people out all of the time, is the fact that we want other people to do something or behave in a certain way or speak a certain way, and they don't do it, and we get all frustrated and we get stressed again over what? Something we can't control. And so I'll tell you this, if you want something done right, do it yourself. But move away from trying to get results from other people all the time. It's not going to work, or other kittens. Just let go of things. Let things be the way they are. It's okay. Do things that are fun. In this society, we get so caught up with working, trying to make a dollar. We put up with increasing incremental amounts of stress every day and pressure every day until we just explode. That's why people have so many heart attacks and health issues from the stress. You know, people say the number one killer is this, the number one killer is that. You know, it's not obesity, it's not smoking, it's stress. Stress drives people to these vices which ultimately kill you. They're your downfall. So do things that are fun for yourself, not once a week, every single day. Take an hour, take half an hour, do something that's fun. Do something that you like, get a hobby. You like blog writing, start a blog. You want to take photography, go put your photos online and, you know, promote them on Imgur or something like that. So do things that you enjoy. It's what kind of life is it if 24 hours a day you work, eat, sleep, and oh, I'll wait until the weekend before I can do something for myself. You are you. This is your life. This is your life. You know, I know it's for sale every day while you go to work, but always take time for you to do something that you like. What kind of life would it be if you look back and you said, yeah, once a week for a couple hours I got to do this little hobby of mine? No, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Never accept that. Don't do anything in a rush. Slow down. I have one of my triggers, probably my only trigger when I start, you know, going crazy in my mind is when I feel like I'm in a rush. If somebody shows up early and I suddenly have to get ready faster, something trips in my brain and I just go in like rush mode and I start getting really stressed and I can't think clearly. And I found that happening a lot, especially here in Los Angeles, where you can tend to be late for things, a lot of meetings and whatnot, because of the complete unpredictability of the traffic, just as an example. So I've started to do things too, even if I have a client that calls and they're in a rush and I get some ridiculous email or voicemail of, oh, there's an emergency, and I know what they're calling about and it's no emergency. I used to really respond to that stuff and it would really affect me and I'd get really upset because I'd feel compelled, and this relates to my other points. I'd feel so compelled to pick up the phone or drop everything I was doing and try to help them out. And I'd think, why is this person in a rush? This isn't even an emergency. But here I was getting caught up in their mental turmoil. I don't do that anymore. I have a client whose name will go unnamed. He just seems to call. He calls me every day. His case went fine. His case is closed, in fact. And he may be suffering from some sort of Alzheimer's. I hope he isn't. But he calls every 2 days about the same thing. And before I get frustrated, now I just don't reply. I have other people emailing me with some pretended emergency in their mind, and I no longer let myself get drawn into that. And you know what? I feel great. I feel really good because I was getting so stressed out every day over other people's fictions, the fictions of emergencies in their mind, and I said no. Just like my other point, I started saying no to putting up with that. So try to slow down in life. You'll remember more things. Your quality of life will go up. My last point, and this goes opposite to Jim Carrey's movie Yes Man, and that is, when in doubt, say no to people for anything you have doubt about or that you haven't had a chance to think about. You know, some people say no too much and they never try new things. This isn't about that. This is more about you having to make a decision that may affect something in your interest. So if somebody says, hey, let's go to Las Vegas this weekend, I want to go to this concert, and part of you is thinking, well, you know, maybe I don't have the money for that. I have these errands that are more important this weekend. I can't really pull the two off. Don't say yes just to appease the other person. If you have some doubt, say no. I know there's that expression which I love, and that is, you know, it's better to have tried something and regretted having done it than not have tried it at all. I still stand by that. I'm talking about other decisions where, you know, you feel like you shouldn't be doing something, and I'm not talking about trying new things. I'm talking about other things people may be wanting you to do for them, because, you know, you end up regretting it. You end up getting pissed off with the individual that asked you, and anyways, you end up getting stressed. And all of these things really relate to other people imputing their stress on you and you absorbing it and it affecting your quality of life. So I hope you've enjoyed all of those points. There are quite a few of them, 12, but you'll notice that the majority of them have the same nucleus of thought, and that is, number one, guarding yourself from other people's issues and their stress. Keep people that are going through things at an arm's length. It's great for you to counsel them. It's great for you to help them out when they need it. Really it is, and that's what being a friend is and a family member. But one thing I've learned is suffering alongside somebody doesn't help them. It doesn't help them. The only times it helps is when you absorb their stress and they walk off on their merry way and you feel like hell, but for what? Now you've lost. So this is really about protecting yourself and living a much more stress-free life. which I know you can do and I can do too. And since I've started really focusing on these tenets, or these resolutions, I've noticed my life has changed a lot. I feel much better every day. I don't feel tired. I stopped going to the gym about 2 months ago, and interesting. It's I was doing a lot of weights. My body looks the same. I feel as energetic as before. I feel great. So you kind of have to protect yourself. So I hope these points are well received. Appreciate any comments you guys may or not may have, and I'll see you guys on the next one.